Attention Austin musicians and music industry professionals. Are you having a difficult time navigating these waters, especially after the coronavirus and all the clubs have been closed? You don't know what to do? Well, let me tell you about a great resource for you. That's the Austin Music Foundation. Austin Music Foundation provides ongoing artist development services through its educational panels, one-on-one consultations, and online resources. Now listen, gang, all of that stuff is available to you, the artist or music industry professional, for free. And since coronavirus hit back in March and everything is closed down, Austin Music Foundation had the forethought to move all of their programs online. That's right, you can watch panels online, you can do your consultations online. Austin Music Foundation is there for you, and it's all free to you, the artist. Just go to austinmusicfoundation.org. That's austinmusicfoundation.org. Get involved. Attention Austin guitarist, are you in need of setup or repair on your axe? Well, I have the guy for you. That's my friend Jason Swedberg over at J. Scott Lutherie. You can find him at J. Scott Lutherie on Facebook. Gang, I've been taking my guitars to Jason for over 20 years, and not only does he do the very best job, but he has the fastest service and the best prices in town. Find him at J. Scott Lutherie on Facebook or jason.swedberg@gmail.com. Gang, whether it's acoustic or electric, Jason is your guy. Get your guitars fixed.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here is your host,
All right, hello, I'm Johnny. I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys have all had a good weekend, whatever that even means anymore. I hope you're sane. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're safe. Everything is really, I'm getting 2020 fatigue. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm getting 2020 has come to its breaking point with me in my mind. I think the fires, the double hurricanes, the Republican National Convention, I think everything, coronavirus, remember that? Not working, being fucking broke. It's all a bit much right now. And I'm doing what I can to stay sane. I'm doing what I can to stay safe, to stay healthy. So I'm not really seeing a lot of people. It's very, 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 very isolating. It's very depressing, not knowing when you're going to go back and do your job again and thinking to yourself, like, well, maybe this is not coming back, you know? They're saying that over the next 3 months, 45% of small businesses will close because of what's happened. And I believe that to be true. I mean, I don't see how it couldn't. You know, this has been very tough. We never really opened back up as intelligently and as safely as we should have. Things kind of went crazy in May. We all know that. It's been insane, you know. Anyway, sorry, I just had to vent for a minute because I'm isolated. I feel isolated. I feel lonely. I feel away from everything, like removed from the world. That even though when I do get together with people now, I still feel removed. I don't feel like I'm all there. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, is this happening to you? Are you feeling it too? I mean, this is a difficult time for people, and it's only getting worse. I hope that we make it through this. I hope that we can see an end game in this. I hope that vaccines come soon and that they're good. Yeah, I just hope the best for all of us. That's where I'm at right now. 2020 can just fuck off. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Hey, gang, listen, I'm going to change the subject. Let's get out of this real fast. I am returning to your phone, laptop, tablet, or television on Thursday nights at 6 p.m. I will go back to doing the Johnny Show, a solo acoustic guitar and piano show that I do from my studio right here in my house. Thursday nights at 6 p.m. You can see it on Johnny Gowdy Music on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Johnny Gowdy Music. Thursday night, 6 p.m. Central Time. Starting out this Thursday, right here, doing songs you love and know. All right? So, gang, back in July, I talked to singer-songwriter Brandon Callies. Great musician, great songwriter. He's also a member of the band Heart of the City. They actually just played this weekend at that big drive-in show that had like Jamie Harris and Quiet Company and all kinds of bands playing there. Heart of the City got to play out there. It was like some kind of drive-in show. Anyway, Brandon Callies has an album coming out later on this year called Sunrise Diner. Great record. You're going to love it. You can find him at brandoncallies.com. You can find his latest single, No Good, available now wherever it is you stream and download music, even on Spotify. What? Apple Music. What? Brandon and I had a great conversation. It's always great catching up with him. He's a very nice guy and a really great songwriter. So without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with the immensely talented and lovely Brandon Callies. Let's get down.
Got a couple of friends that are up to no good, starting fire after fire in the neighborhood. I've learned a couple.
So, is the Sunrise Diner a real place?
Not a real place. No. It there was a podcast I was listening to, and the imagery, man, I can't even remember it. It was like a year ago. But the imagery from the podcast, like, it was about this woman who was a truck driver driving across country and stopped at all these diners, and that's where it kind of came from.
Okay, sorry. I needed some light.
Yep.
Okay, so you heard it on a podcast. Where did you do this record, man?
Do you know Taylor Tatch out at Audio Styles?
No.
He's in Dripping Springs. Incredible studio. It's easily the best studio experience I've had. I think the Western Youth guys, they did their record out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, your record's great, man. You did a great job.
I appreciate it.
You know what I was thinking? I've becoming, I don't know if it's just me or what the hell's going on, but I've become fascinated with like styles of music. Like, what style of music is your music? I don't know what anything's called anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the easy term would be Americana, but it's
okay.
I don't know. There's a lot of kind of indie influence in there, and
right. It's so broad. Americana is so broad now.
Yep.
I'm trying to stop people from using singer-songwriter as a style, because that's not a style. That's a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. You're right. Yeah.
Anyway, so who all played on the record?
Oh, there's a list.
Well, you can name a couple. Just name the two coolest ones.
Yeah, well, Taylor Tatch, the guy that engineered it, he did quite a bit. So, I mean, I play bass with Heart of the City. So we kind of split duties, me playing bass, him playing bass, and then a good buddy of mine, Tom Lamb, he came in, did some bass and guitar.
Right.
Richard Panther on drums. My buddy Zach did some keys, and
that's Zach where you are now.
Yes,
okay.
This is his studio. Yeah.
At first, I got to tell you, man, when that name popped up on the Zoom, I was like, "Oh fuck, did I get the wrong guy?" I did that once, man. I got this hip hop guy and like a 60-year-old singer songwriter from the same publicist. And I was sitting outside having a cigarette, and all of a sudden I saw this 60-year-old guy walking, and I was like, this isn't the rapper. Uh-oh. I prepared for the wrong one.
Oh, that's perfect. You got to ask all the same questions that you were going to ask anyway.
I should have. So you did this record out there, and did you do it like a lot of it live? Because it has a good band vibe to it.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of all over the place, really. I mean, the first half of it, I didn't even show the guys the songs. I kind of wanted to do a record where the instincts of the band,
Yes.
like whatever they came up with first. So the first round of songs we did like that, where I came in, recorded scratch tracks, and the first time they heard the songs were when I laid the scratch tracks down. And then whoever could lay the best takes, if it was me on bass or guitar, or Taylor on bass or guitar, or whatever, you know. So we sort of did it like that. And then I'd say the second half of the record was a little bit more rehearsed. I think we did one rehearsal just so the guys knew the songs.
Yeah.
But it was still pretty unrehearsed. So, I mean, the idea was to kind of catch people off guard and get maybe their knee-jerk reactions more than this, like, I want to figure out parts.
Yeah.
I think that worked better. You know, I'm the most proud of this than I've been with anything else, and I think that's the reason why.
You should be. It's really great. And it has like some songs do have an Americana vibe, but some songs are like, there's one song in particular with all these backing vocals and stuff, and like ooh la la las and stuff, that's like straight up like almost power pop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's that Beach Boys influence, man. I can't get away from it.
Yeah. Did you was there a reason why you went with that sort of like using the force and trusting your feelings with the musicians and not having them like lay out actual parts, just kind of like where they would go instinctively? What was the reason for that? Was you were looking for spontaneity, or like? Yeah,
for sure. I did an EP. I mean, it was a long time ago. I want to say like 2011. And because I wasn't too worried about it, we just sort of did it in the same way, where the band heard the songs for the first time when I was laying down the scratch tracks. And they kind of built up the songs. I wasn't even there when they were recording. I came in at the end of the day so they could have something that they were proud of. And it turned out really great. And so the idea was just to see what would happen with a different group of people.
Right.
And it worked. I'm kind of sold on it. I think it's just the way to do it for me from now on.
It's totally Jedi stuff. It's like, let go of your feelings, like use the force.
Yeah. And if you get people that are good, you
don't got to tell them anything. That's why you got them.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fucking brilliant, man. And Heart of the City is still playing.
Yes.
You guys are still doing stuff. Where are you guys at right now? I mean, obviously everyone's under lockdown and stuff, but where were you on March 7th?
Well, I mean, we had a bunch of South by stuff lined up, obviously, and then that whole thing kind of fell through. But we are using the time wisely in that we're writing songs. We've recorded a bunch of a handful of songs already. We're about to do a single. We just shot a music video for a sort of a standalone single. So we've been very active as you can be. We were supposed to play at the end of July. That was going to be the first show back, but it just got canceled a couple days ago.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Hey, it's how it goes.
And you had some plans, obviously, for this record, because I wrote you today and I was like, when is it coming out? I can't find anything that says when it's coming out. And then you're like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's, I think that I'm pretty good at looking at the positive in most of these kinds of situations. And the idea was to release it in the late summer, early fall. But when all this stuff hit, I mean, if it continues, we'll still put it out. But I'd like to see if we get to a place sometime this year where we can do live shows. And if that happens, then we'll do, release shows and travel around it. But the good thing is it's afforded me the possibility to sort of expand on the packaging. I do art as well.
Yes.
So I'm able to make the visuals a little bit more in line with what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So it's going to, the vinyl packaging will be way more extensive, and we're going to be able to, I think, promote it better since, there's kind of that longer stretch of time between when it's going to come out.
Right. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Is anything out from it?
No, nothing yet. I think we're gearing up to put a single out though.
Will you tell me what that is so I'll play it on the show? Am I allowed to play stuff from the show?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll likely be the first one.
All right, world premiere, baby.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's funny, man, because like I'm an optimist too. I'm like a happy-go-lucky guy. I think I have the soul of a dog that's like under a year old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure I do. But this pandemic really puts that shit to the test, man. Like,
yeah,
I have pretty bleak days. I mean, do you? I mean, you're working, right?
Yeah, I am. It's a little bit more. It's difficult. I make money doing art as well, but I primarily work with, a couple record labels and musicians. I'll do stuff here and there for beer companies and breweries and companies, but for the most part, I work with bands. So I mean,
if you thought they were asking you for a bro deal before,
oh man,
I can only imagine.
Yeah. We'll pay you back later, or so. I'm not gonna see it. It's cool. Everybody's suffering.
Everybody is, man. So you're working, keeping yourself busy doing art and stuff. And
yes.
What else have you been doing for the last?
That's pretty much it. Art and music. I mean, we still get together and work and record and all that kind of stuff. But,
yeah. So you have been getting together and recording?
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
We've still been tracking. Yeah.
Good. So, are you doing any live streams or anything like that? Do you do that? Do you play like solo acoustic anywhere?
I did one so far, and that's it. And I had to have somebody do it with me. So there's some sort of banter. I think I play off of people too much to just sit in a room and play songs by myself.
Sing at your phone.
Yeah, I mean the interaction for me, the exchange between me and other people is, I think what I dig the most, and I don't think it translates as well. So the one, me and a buddy of mine did one for Independent Ear, a record label out of Chicago.
Okay,
but I made him do it with me so that I have somebody to talk to and joke around with.
Right, I get it, man. It's weird to not have that. Do you watch any?
I mean, I watched the Dropkick Murphys. I watched their St. Patty's Day live stream because they did theirs like right when all this stuff hit.
Right.
And then a few other ones. I plan on watching yours tomorrow.
That's what I was fishing for the whole time. No, I'm just joking. Well, now, I mean, I have a disco light. These are the pluses that I have, but it's still just my phone and me and my guitar and piano and stuff. Yeah. What else? Have you been writing? Have you been able to write?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, that's all we got to do, right? Just writing.
Well, I mean, I've been doing a shitload of podcasts throughout this time, and most everyone I've talked to says no, they can't. It's like too difficult to write with low grade anxiety all day.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
It's true.
Yeah, I have not yet experienced that. So.
Yeah. Are you married? I don't remember.
I think we froze up.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, I can still hear you. Can you hear me?
I'm not. I can hear you now.
You're not married?
No.
Okay. So you live alone?
I live with two roommates.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I live alone, and that shit does get weird. And like I got exposed a few weeks ago, and then I had to get quarantined, and then I was just like fucking I'd say hi to my neighbors as they come out of their apartments and stuff by me. But that's about it.
You'll have to say that again. You froze up.
Oh no, I'm just saying that like I got exposed a few weeks ago, And then I was under quarantine for 2 weeks, and I live alone. It's just like fucking walking around my apartment talking to myself.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I think that might drive me a little nuts. I'm definitely a people person. Like I have to have some sort of interaction with people. So I think maybe me having roommates has been sort of a bit of a saving grace, you know.
Yeah, probably.
There are people there and I can joke around and, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you baked bread?
No.
Okay. A lot of people have been baking bread. I've not baked bread, but I have cooked a lot. Like,
really?
Yeah, I was making extravagant breakfast for a couple of months. Like extravagant. Like I hash browns from scratch and shit. Like just to kill the time. Like I could spend an hour making breakfast.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
These are things that I maybe should have been doing.
Well, you know, that's the little things that keep you sane, you know?
Right?
Yeah. So with Heart of the City, you guys, you have new music coming down anytime soon, or?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
we do. I want to say August 19th is when we're planning to release the next single.
Okay.
And so I think we've been kind of sporadically, you know, writing and recording things during this time. So I think we're going to roll out a few singles and then plan on some sort of album, you know. So yeah, that's kind of the rough game plan.
Is there a lot of like collaboration in the writing part of that band?
No, not really.
Yep.
I mean, Paco's the Jedi Master when it comes to songwriting. And so, you know, we all have just nothing but a ton of faith in him to crank out, you know, really good stuff. So,
yeah. Paco Estrada, baby.
He's the man.
Yeah. He's great. Is he doing all right? I haven't seen him in a long time. I don't think I've seen him since the last time he was on the show.
Yeah, he's doing really well. He's been doing these front yard shows. So he'll just do neighborhood shows where all these people come and set up lawn chairs.
That's
you know?
Killer, man.
Yeah, set up in a cul-de-sac or something, you know?
Yeah. So what else has been going on, man? So like with your band, like when you get back and play this stuff, is this the same band that you've had that you'll go out and play with as Brandon Callies?
No, I mean, I tend to kind of switch it up. There was a good while where I had a consistent band. It was under Brandon Callies and the American Revival.
Okay.
So we, I mean, for, you know, a couple years, we went under that name, but before and after that, it's been, you know, pretty inconsistent, just sort of different people. And I kind of like it that way. It does make it to where, I mean, the music that I write, I can't help but to sort of write in a certain vein, but having people around that come from different backgrounds, it shifts that sound a little bit. So
right.
it's kind of cool. I do have a buddy in the band. My buddy, Tom Lamb, has been, extremely pivotal, in sort of the sound of the record. And, so I imagine he'll be sticking around for a while. The guitar player. Yeah.
That's good. You kind of, there is a guy, like you kind of need a guy. Like if you're going to be switching guys around, it's always nice to have one guy you can look at and you're like, okay.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, between him and Taylor Tatch, I just don't know if I would have done a solo record like this again. Those two were big champions of it. And kind of made me want to do it again. They really got behind it.
Were you out of being a solo artist? Had you sort of like been like, oh shit, well, I'm just going to be in Heart of the City?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, you get to a point where you go from sort of doing everything on your own to playing in a band where you're firing on all cylinders, where 5 people are working towards a common goal instead of just one person kind of driving the ship, you know? And I just really like that dynamic, you know, where it's all, you know, everybody's doing it, not just one.
It's not as fun being a tugboat pulling a fucking cruise ship behind you.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I love that, but I can tell you what got me out of it is I went to Jamie Harris's album release show.
Yeah.
At 1 to 1.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that show.
I think I was there.
But man, it was a packed room, and I was kind of overdoing the sort of circling back around to the singer-songwriter thing, these sort of low-key, slower songs, I just didn't feel like it translated that well in a live setting.
Well, in a club, it's hard because it's a different vibe. It's like that. It's weird. It's hard to write like delicate music and then have to go play in a fucking bar. Even if it's as cool as 1 to 1 and people are listening, it's still not the Paramount Theater or something.
Sure.
I know what you mean.
I'll tell you, Jamie Harris, that show, she did that whole record, and I mean, that thing's all over the place. It's, low key. And then, I mean, it's a roller coaster of a record. And on those super slow songs, you could have heard a pin drop, and there were a few hundred people in that room. And so I think at that point, I sort of realized that there is definitely power if you do it right, in that kind of music. And so it kind of made me, I mean, I booked studio time with Taylor Tatch at Audio Styles the next day. So.
Oh, that's good. Are you there? Oh, damn it.
Can you hear me? I think I lost. Yeah, I lost you for a second.
Sorry,
You're freezing up every once in a while.
Yeah, I don't know if it's my connection or what. Yeah, she's a stellar artist, and she's really she's able to translate that stuff to the stage, but also the audience, you know what I mean? The audience has to be ready for that too. You know what I mean? It's interesting.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there are some mellow, like you take your time on this. You're not rushing to get anywhere in these songs. Like you're not trying to deliver hook after hook. They're just well-written songs, and they're beautiful, and they have their own organic sort of like feeling.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. But I do know that feeling of like you write stuff like, I write stuff all the time where I'm like, how the fuck am I going to do this with two guitar players, bass and drums, Mm-hmm. It's a tall order to take. Who's the girl that sings with you on that song? I didn't write the name of the song down, but you know what I'm talking about? There's a girl.
Yeah. Her name's Hannah. She is, her maiden name was McClellan. But I can't remember her married name for the life of me, but she's incredible. I mean, she hit all that stuff in one take, I want to say.
I think I know her. I think she's an ex-girlfriend of mine's friend's little sister.
Sounds about right.
Would she be like in her early 30s, late 20s? Yeah, that's about right. Early 30s. Yeah. It's weird. I know her.
Yeah. She's incredible.
Yeah. You guys sound great together. You guys sing great together.
Yeah. I love having her around anytime I can get her.
Yeah. So wait, let's go back to the, I'm not going to do this solo stuff anymore stuff, because I go through that too all the time. And I know people do it all the time. So you get the courage to do it. Are you still a little bit tentative? Like, let me ask you a question. You could be totally honest, or you could lie, whatever you want. I'm asking for honesty, though. Is there a little bit of relief where you're like, okay, cool, I don't have to release it just yet. I got a little while to figure out how I'm going to do this shit live.
There is, but not, it's mainly, I think, in the promotion. And I've never wanted to get a record right, like nail the target. And so the relief comes from me being able to sort of step back and go, okay, where are the holes?
Right.
And fix those holes, because I do want to feel like when I put this out that I've given everything I fucking have to make it right, So that's where the relief is, man. I work with so many good people. The last time the band played, it fired off and it was really great. So I know those guys, like the live version of it will be, it'll I feel good about it.
Have you played these songs on a stage before?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've done not all of them, but we've done quite a few of them.
Okay. Cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
What's the Heart of the City website? Just so I know that. Is it heartofthecity.com? No.
HeartoftheCitymusic.com.
Music.com. Okay. And yours is just BrandonCallies.com.
That's right.
All right. You going to be making any videos? Do you do any?
Oh, yeah.
You are?
Yep. That's sort of another thing we've been doing in this whole downtime.
Yeah. How's that going?
It's good, man. I'm just sort of looking at promoting a record in a different way. And I think sort of the more you can put out prior to it coming out to sort of build that anticipation is the way to do it. And so the idea is to roll out, 3 or 4 singles that'll have videos with each single. There are 2 in the bag already.
And this is this coming out on a label?
Yeah, it's on Hand Drawn Records.
Hand Drawn Records. That's right. Okay, just making sure. Well, that's cool, and everyone with Hand Drawn is cool with everything. They're
are
not freaking out on you.
Well, they're not. I think they're pretty excited about. As there's a Dropbox folder that they kind of get, and there's these constant updates with new art and all that kind of stuff. And they run a pressing plan. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
They've got a pressing plan out of Addison. So if you start geeking out on making the physical vinyl version something special, then they'll say, take your time, dude.
Yeah. Well,
they're all about it.
As an artist that does cover art, I mean, obviously that's a huge relief, and you probably want to have your stuff come out on vinyl because you're also an artist that you want to have. Doesn't it bum you out that album art is like the size of your thumb pad now?
Yeah, I mean it does.
Does that change the way you make the art? Like when you're making an album art, do you shrink it down to like Spotify size so you can see what it's going to look like from?
I do. Well, it depends on if I know that a band is trying to release like a physical form, like a vinyl or something like that. Then I'll get way more involved, way more detailed. But if it's a single, I don't muddy it up.
I don't blame you,
so
man.
That you can, yeah. It's a little clearer,
It's a different style of art than I guess people made like 15 years ago, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I mean,
are there any albums that stand out to you that you've done that you're like, oh yeah, you should check this one out? The album art.
Well, there've been a few fun ones.
Yeah.
The Yes Son Yes album covers kind of this comic book looking thing with robots destroying Austin.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was a lot of fun. So I'd say look at that.
Did you ever at any point feel like you had? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Happy with the American Revival, the Sounds of Love and Ghost album cover.
Right. Oh yeah,
there've been a few that kind of stand out.
Weren't you also in American Revival? Are you there?
Again. Yeah.
Were you?
There you are.
Weren't you also in American Revival?
Yes.
No. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Making sure. Because weren't you on the show with them? I'm trying to think of when you were on the show before. I think you were on once by yourself.
So I came on with Heart of the City, and then the guys in the Revival did it without me.
Oh, okay.
The way it was such a weird thing. We did a tour under Brandon Callies and the American Revival, and eventually kind of split off because we just sort of wanted to go under a band name. Ryan Hawley writes songs and sings. I mean, so it made sense for there to be other songwriters to sort of utilize that. And so we split off and just started going under the American Revival. I stayed under my name with Hand Drawn Records, and then we were signed to a Chicago-based label called Independent Ear.
Oh, right. And so what's going on with American Revival? That's no more? Or is that?
It's just sort of hiatus, I guess.
I get
right now. It's a lot of uncertainty. we did 2 shows right before all the COVID stuff hit, and we were playing a ton before that. And I think, Ryan just had a kid, and he plays in, a few other groups, and as does everybody in that band does the same thing. They're doing multiple things. So, once all this kind of does its thing, and the COVID stuff isn't such a angry monster looming in the air, we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it's a big question mark.
Yeah. It's funny, man, because I grew up wanting to be a guy in a band and just always have the same band. I thought that's how it worked. Like the Beatles, U2.
Yeah.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers even. I thought of that as a band. Like one guy left, but that's okay. They got another guy who was cool. Cheap Trick. They're just bands. You know what I mean? And it's weird when you get in a band as you get older. There's so many interests. There's human life interests. Some people are married, have a kid, like Ryan. You got to get out and make money. You can't just go fuck off for 5 hours at rehearsal, trying to come up with a song. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I do. Well, and especially in a larger city too, with so many good musicians,
right.
There's so many options, to go out and, play music with this guy or with this guy. And, so it's much different, when I was a kid coming up in a small town, there were maybe 10 people that could play well, so
right.
A band lasted a lot longer,
Yeah, totally. Let me ask you, did you ever have to make a choice between art and music, or was there at one point you thought you'd have to get serious about one before you realized you could do them both in tandem and it would be fine?
No, not really.
No?
I mean, the art stuff spawned off of music anyway. I mean, the whole reason I even kicked that off, I could always draw, but I started pricing out on my first full-length album. I knew that I wanted something like art. I didn't want a picture of me on the cover of the album. And I started pricing it out, and it was just so expensive, Yeah. So I went, I don't know why I'm doing this. I can figure it out. And so the art and music thing has always been sort of hand in hand. I think that's the way I've kind of looked at it. So
sometimes they complement each other. I knew this guy, this producer and guitar player guy in Nashville that would, he kept one room with all of his music stuff in it, like I have here, and then like in the other room, an easel with a canvas on it, and then when he couldn't do shit in one room, he'd go to the other room. It didn't matter. As long as he was making something in one of the rooms, he was cool.
I do the exact same thing, man. Yeah. I've got a studio at my house, and there's the mixing and tracking area, and then the front part's the office where I do art stuff. So I do that same thing. Yeah,
it's good. And sometimes you clear the path to get through whatever hurdle you were trying to get over with the other one. Like if you're having problems with the song, you go and paint for a little while, and you're like, whoa, eureka, run back to the other room.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think if you can get whatever creative juice going, that kind of like you said earlier, it sort of plays off on each other, you know? If I can draw something that I dig and get pumped about, then it'll usually kind of unjam whatever
musical stuff you're working on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there? Did you write all these songs on this record yourself?
I wrote all of them except for the Beach Boys sounding one that you were talking about earlier, and that was Tom, the guitar player I was talking about earlier.
Okay. Do you do any co-writing? Like, do you do any House of Songs stuff or anything like that?
I never have. Well, I have a little bit with Paco, but I need to maybe exercise that muscle a little bit more. I tend to freeze up a little bit, because when you're by yourself writing songs, you can hit all the wrong notes and you don't feel dumb. Yeah. But if you do it in front of, these other people that you respect, right. Or you throw out a bad idea, you just kind of feel like a dumbass.
I don't think so. I think once you're in it, you'll realize that everybody has dumb ideas. And that person was probably going to have a dumber idea than you before you before you presented your dumb idea.
That's probably what it takes. I think just sort of, getting that experience out of the way. But I never really have, outside of kind of working with Paco a little bit.
I get that.
For the most part, it's just kind of me, so I can make mistakes and kind of present this, at least a pretty good skeleton of whatever I'm trying to go for.
Yeah. Are you a diligent, sort of like disciplined songwriter that gets up and writes every day, a certain time of day, or is there?
Not at all. No, not at all. I'm lucky enough to have, again, the sort of couple outlets, so I do a lot. If I'm not, generally my mind is switched on all the time, so it's going a million miles an hour. So I've always got some kind of idea, either art or music, or Paco's calling me and he's got something.
Right.
So yeah, no schedule. I just kind of take it as it comes.
Man, I don't blame you, man. That's kind of the way that I push myself sometimes to do it. I think so that I'll always be fluid. You know what I mean? Because it's like a muscle. It's like you don't want to get up and try and run a marathon without having run 26 miles for at least a couple months before. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm not
saying I do.
That I would be.
I try to.
You fooled me. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd be a better musician for it if I did.
Right.
But yeah, I tend to be more on a schedule with art stuff than I do with music stuff. That really comes as it hits, instead of me sort of making it happen.
Yeah. Do you are you one of those people that struggles over lyrics, or do you have like a story as you're coming to the song? Like already some kind of scenario?
Half the time.
Yeah.
Cause I don't have a certain way that I'll write songs.
Sure.
So sometimes it starts with some kind of a riff or a chord progression, and I'll stick, filler words in until I come up with something that works, or I'll have an idea of, some kind of a story or something. So yeah, it's just, it's different.
Do you get
every time for me?
Do you get those stories? Do you get stories that you like hear or see, or are a lot of your songs personal?
I'd say most of them are personal. This whole last record was super personal. 2018 was the worst year, I think, for me.
Why is that?
You had asked earlier if I was married. I was married.
Okay.
So 2018 is when all that kind of went to shit, and I'm sure a lot of that you can hear.
So this is that album.
This is that.
Yeah, I have one of those.
This is definitely that album for sure. But it was super therapeutic. It gave me something to really focus on, and I did. I mean, I put all my energy into sort of accurately conveying what was going on in my life during that time.
That's amazing.
So,
do you do conventional therapy at all?
No, I never have.
Okay. Well, no, you might not need to. It looks like you found your voice in the song,
Yeah. I mean, I tend to think that I generally look at the positive in life, and there was a lot of positive about, this split.
Sure. There is.
So,
or there wouldn't be a split. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
how long were you married?
Oh man, 5 years, I want to say.
Yeah.
Something like that. 5-ish.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that comes out of that too. There's a thing that I don't think a lot of people talk about, that I noticed only when I got divorced, that a lot of people didn't talk about this weird sense of failure that you have.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You kind of walk around with this like, oh, yeah, I'm one of those guys. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I tried, but I couldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
I definitely know.
Well,
It's a rough thing, but I mean,
Are you feeling good now? I think it takes a little while to get back into like a groove.
Yeah, it takes a minute, but I think, when, you generally this stuff doesn't come out of nowhere. You're I think you're able to sort of mentally prepare yourself for something, an impending storm. And I know that was the case with me. It wasn't when it finally happened, it wasn't something that I just kind of went, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Right.
So it didn't completely just, collapse my whole world.
Right.
And I also have such an insanely good network of people around me, good friends and family and all that kind of stuff, made that transition just real easy.
Yeah, that makes all the difference in the world, having.
For sure.
Yeah. Having a net, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then being able to dump everything into a record.
Yeah. So this is a heavy record, man.
It is. Yeah. It is. And it wasn't I didn't start the record meaning for it to be kind of a concept thing, but it sort of turned into it a little bit. I had a handful of songs that I'd already written for the record and was sort of noticing a theme, obviously, with everything that had gone on.
Yeah.
And so I think I just sort of tailored, the rest of the record, decided to sort of steer it towards sort of a common theme. I don't know if you've heard, did I send you the vinyl version? Was it just one long song or was it split up?
It was split up.
Oh, okay. There's the vinyl version's a different version of the record. Paco did a bunch of segues, so it's all tied together. It sort of plays like one song. Yeah. So it almost plays as like a conversation between a couple people,
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I need to get you that version of it.
I would love to hear it.
The idea was to create a version that comes out on vinyl. You can only hear that version on vinyl, to make people want to get
the vinyl.
Yeah. Cause I'm an advocate of that. I mean, I'd way rather the physical copy to me, that's the artist is able to paint the complete picture. And I think you want to get the complete picture.
Yeah.
So.
Is that how you listen to music, like on vinyl?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? You listen to records as whole records?
Yes. Yeah. Because it makes me carve out that time to really listen to it.
You're right.
If I'm listening to something on Spotify, if I'm not feeling it in that first song, then I'm likely to just move on to something else. But if it's a record, it's more of an experience, So I've put it on the record player and I've sat down, and I'm already looking at the artwork, and so I'm more invested. I'm less likely to get up and switch the songs. And there's so many records where the first song may not be my favorite one,
Right.
And so I think there's magic in being able to get through a whole record and have your undivided attention on what's going on. I think that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That is. Well, man, I guess whenever you get a date or you get a single, let me know and I'll put this thing together and put it out. But is there anything I'm missing?
I don't think so. I can tell you No Good will be the first single.
Okay.
The song No Good. So you fire that off whenever you feel like it.
Okay. Shit. Sorry, my chair just flew out from under me when I was reaching for a pen.
Hey, it happens.
It happens, right? Like on the show. No Good is the single.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, Brandon, man, it's been great talking to you.
Good talking to you.
Sorry to hear about your divorce, but glad it turned into one of those great records. Now I'm going to listen to it again and be like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You'll hear it. You'll hear it for sure.
Well, dude, it's been great talking to you.
Good. Yep, you too.
Brandon Callies, his latest album, Sunrise Diner, will be available at some point this year. Keep up with him at brandoncallies.com. That's No Good. That's the first single from the record. You should be hearing that sometime soon. Check at brandoncallies.com. Also, Heart of the City, great band. Check them out. Brandon's a great dude, man. I'm glad that he made it through that divorce. I'm glad he made a great album, and I'm glad things are going well for him. Hey, gang, while you're out there checking out Sunrise Diner or No Good at brandoncallies.com, don't forget that you can subscribe to this podcast wherever it is that you find podcasts, be it Apple, Spotify, TuneIn, Overcast, Stitcher, anywhere. New shows all the time, especially during this coronavirus time. During lockdown, quarantine, I'm putting out so many shows. They used to come out on Tuesdays and Fridays. Now they're just dropping like flies, baby. Dropping like flies. I don't know if that makes... I'm making it rain podcast. That's what I'm doing. Making it rain. I'm making it rain podcast, baby. Here's the rest of the song, No Good, from Brandon Callies and his upcoming album, Sunrise Diner. Have a great day, whatever it is you're doing. Stay safe, gang. Let's get down.
I'm getting pretty good at being on the run. I don't